Number 18, which choice most logically completes the text? So let's read through it. Remember, we're looking for an answer that's consistent with the text as a whole, right? That doesn't go against the spirit of the text. And the choice that makes sense in the blank, given what is going on in particular in the sentence with the blank in it. So let's go ahead and read. Consumer psychologists have theorized that the likelihood that people who identify as ethical consumers, and here's a definition, meaning that they strive to purchase goods and services with positive or neutral social and ecological effects, will purchase a given product positively correlates with their perception of that product's effects. In a recent study of the attitudes of self-identified ethical consumers toward purchasing a specific mobile phone coming to market, researchers found that, on average, study participants in their 20s rated this phone's social and ecological effects much less positively than did participants in other age groups. All other things being equal, if consumer psychologist theory is correct, this finding suggests that blank. So we have this definition of an ethical consumer, which is somebody who will be more likely to buy a product if it has positive effects, specifically positive or I guess neutral social and ecological effects. So we did a study on ethical consumers of different age groups, and we found that participants in their 20s rated the phone's social and ecological effects less positively than did participants in other age groups. So just kind of making a prediction here, right? We basically in this blank, we see that we're just drawing some conclusion from this result based on the theory, right? If the theory is correct, what conclusion do we draw here? Well, if the likelihood to purchase positively correlates with the perception of a product's effects, if this group of 20-somethings rates the effects less positive than these other groups, they will be, by that correlation, less likely to purchase the phone, is essentially the outcome here. Let's look at our choices. A, the phone is less appealing to ethical consumers in their 20s than other similar phones on the market are. We have no clue what these consumers think about other phones. All we know is that they don't like this one relative to other ethical consumers in other age groups. What they would think about similar phones in the market, we don't know. We don't want to speculate. Let's not go with A. Ethical consumers in their 20s are less likely to purchase the phone than ethical consumers in other age groups are. Yeah. Kind of a boring answer. Maybe you're looking for something a little more flashy and insightful, but it's just based on the definition. All we have here is a case where you have these consumers who don't like the phone's effects, social and ecological effects, and so therefore, by this theory, they'd be less likely to buy it. That's it. How about C? There's not a meaningful difference in the likelihood of purchasing the phone among ethical consumers in different age groups. This seems to be the opposite of what we should be concluding here, right? Because there's this difference in the 20-somethings versus these other groups in their appraisal of the phone's qualities, that would imply a difference in their likelihood to purchase it. Ethical consumers in their 20s are more likely than ethical consumers in other age groups to consider a phone's social and ecological effects when deciding whether to purchase that phone. So there's no discussion here about, who are the better or more consistent, more committed ethical consumers. We just say, look, we have studied ethical consumers of different age groups, and here's what the 20-something said. We can't, again, draw any speculation beyond what's in the text and what's defined in the text. It could be the case, maybe the 20-somethings are more committed ethical consumers and therefore are more likely to consider those effects than other ethical consumers, whatever, but that's speculative. We have to stay with what the text is telling us. Do not be creative, unfortunately. This is not a test for creative thought and, clever thinking. It's what does the text say? Which choice can be justified by what the text says? And in this case, it's choice B.